is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been shown that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family, and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a chemo buddy for life.
We are a buddies network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are chemo buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
Good morning. And you know, sometimes things. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Time to Shine Happiness Show. And you know, the thing is, I just now, I mean, I know what the date is, but I just looked at it and it said, you know, of course it says December 28th on the top of my computer screen. And I went, December 28th? Where did this year go?
I know.
Where did this year go? And I don't know, maybe I guess I'm just getting older that I'm noticing is the passage of time is just going by so much faster.
And no, you're not alone. You're not alone. I was this morning, like I said, I woke up and I said, wait a minute, is it like maybe a few more days before 2022? I'm like, oh my God, we're about to go to a whole new year. Oh,
this and 2022. And Okay, I'm gonna tell on my no, not tell on myself, but it just seems like yesterday that we were facing Y2K. And to think there is a whole generation of kids coming up that have what? What was
Yeah.
Y2K?
Yeah.
Yet that was such an issue in
Oh my God.
1999. What was going to happen when the computers turned over? I mean, it did end up being, excuse me, it did end up being a non-event. And yet, for some, it was just.
It was chaos. It was completely chaos because a lot of people thought the world was going to end. I mean, it was just from one extreme to the next. I mean, literally, I looked at the computer at that time because I was like, okay, when it changed to 2000, if it even does, because I was, thinking because no one didn't know I was going to do it. Right. And when it just changed and it was everything was like, okay.
And it was a non-event.
I was like, we made this whole build up to nothing.
And and the funny part was it wasn't funny. It was, I mean, some people, no matter what the situations, you're going to have the extremes on both sides.
Yeah.
Of the ones that are going to be like, yeah, whatever. And then the other ones that, I mean, like there came stories after the event of people that had sold everything, moved out to the desert, and then of course nothing.
Well, some people
don't start over again.
Yeah, sold everything. I mean, it's sad because certain even churches and certain places were saying, you need to sell it, you need to do this, and then when nothing really happened, it happened. Okay, it's like, okay, now what? Now they're just like you said, stuck.
So let's start over again. And you know what the thing is? So that was 20 some odd years ago. Here we are, 22 years ago, right?
22.
I really can add, Barbara. 22 years ago. This is now 2022. So 22 years ago, I just realized is what I said. Anyways, but
no, but I mean, think about it.
Right. And now all this craziness that's going on now. And we've got the extreme,
with the pandemic and with the whole
all the craziness that's going on right now. And here we are 20 years later having the same types of conversations where you got the people that just whatever, to the extremes that but what if?
Yeah. So the thing is
in between.
Well, see, the thing is, I'm good you kind of brought this up because the thing is, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what do you like you and I, because you're always saying, what I love your mission, what you always talk about, you want to make happiness the norm.
Happiness.
So what do we say to our audience, by saying, okay, I know this is a whole bunch of other chaos, different kind of chaos, in the midst of all this, how do you keep that smile? How do you keep that happiness going?
Exactly. And and that's part of what we're going to talk about today. Oh yeah, this is Tripod. I have learned now that I leave a space for her to come and sit on my lap.
We have another guest.
otherwise she literally, okay, let's tell. I mean, we were in the middle of the show one day and she moved my virtual background. I mean, and I mean, it just, I just, you either laugh or cry. So, and that's exactly what you can do. In any situation, you can laugh or cry. Decide what you're going to do, but then only do it for, like, if you choose to cry, and we all need to do that.
Yeah.
We all need to take that time to just, what am I going to do? And we all have those moments. In fact, this morning in my devotion time, part of the devotion was, are you in a dark place? Are you there? This is the end of another year. And so often, me included, we look back on our year, our automatic responses, oh, brother, another year has gone by and I didn't get this done. Oh, brother, I can't believe I didn't get that done. Oh, brother. Oh, Barbara, for heaven's sakes, what is wrong with you that you have not gotten this done? that is where we automatically go to.
Yeah.
That
Automatically.
negative, stressed out, automatic response.
Yeah.
So part of my thing for today is we don't need to. You can wallow. That's your choice. Absolutely. However, we get to make the choice of changing that rather than listening to that woe is me. And okay, yes, we have to be realistic. Like I call my realist I've named her name's Rita. And she's my realist. It's like, Barbara, okay, yeah, this is actually what happened this year. This is what you did do, this is what you didn't do. Let's take stock. But then we have to take it the next step further.
Yeah.
We did not do certain things. And every one of us have things that we can look back on and say, what happened to doing that this year? What happened to it? Okay. But then don't stop there of dwelling on the stuff that you didn't get done. What did you get done?
Yes.
And that was me. I woke up this morning and that was like, that's what we're going to talk about. Things that we got done this year. Let go of the stuff that you didn't get done. You didn't get it done. Next year is another year. 2022 is another year. You could do 2 of everything for that year or 20 of everything. We're in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
But let's celebrate the things that you did get done.
Yes.
Like this show. Look at how much this show has grown this year.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, when we first started, we were on Facebook. And now look at all those little icons. Every time I see all those little icons, ooh, Apple TV. Ooh, E360 TV. Wow. We're celebrating that. That happened this year. We've been on the air well over a year.
Yeah, because we're in our second
year. From humble beginnings.
Yes.
And that's what I want people to have for today. Look at whether it was a humble beginning that you started yesterday. Did you start something yesterday that is going to come to fruition in 2022, but you started it yesterday? Celebrate it. Tell somebody that you did it. Do a happy dance.
Yeah.
All of those things instead of dwelling on the stuff that you didn't get done. And, and I'm preaching to the choir right at this minute, too, for myself. And that's one of the things that I think is so important for us, is to remember that sometimes you have to talk to your quit listening to yourself. Talk to yourself about the things that you want to have happen. And quit listening to yourself about the things you didn't get done.
Yeah. Well, and just to add to that, I'm so much information that you're giving. Awesome. But I just wanted to say too, is what you said before, Barbara, you don't want to waste. I always tell people time is of the essence, as we all know now.
We all know.
So why go in that space and waste the time to think about stuff that you didn't get done and stay in that space for a while? And you can be using that time wisely by moving forward, appreciating the little victories that you, like you said, that you had, and move on. And because I always tell people, okay, you didn't get it done. You're not going to go back in time and then try all over again. It's like, okay, I didn't get it done. I got this done. Now move forward. If you want to get it done, you have some time now to do that. But you don't have time to waste to talk about what you didn't get done.
Right.
That's the time that you don't want to waste.
Right. You don't want to waste time. And the thing is I find that so often, and myself included, is that I will get so caught up in The doing, and we talked about this yesterday with Regina. You get so caught up in the doing, that you forget about the being.
Yes. About the being in the now, about to enjoy the right now.
In the now. And sometimes, like I had a really bad migraine 10 days ago. I have not had one of those in years. It absolutely knocked me for a loop. And so in some things yesterday, it was like I was pushing myself. And then I went, Barbara, did you not learn anything from last week of burning the candle at both ends? Did you not learn anything last week when you were burning the candle at both ends? And of course, not expecting to get to the middle. And it was like, okay, Barbara, you need to sit down and just veg for half an hour. And just close your eyes. I didn't sleep, but to just sit and let my body relax.
Yes.
Take that time. Because otherwise you can get sucked up into kind of what we're going to be talking about today, and with Maria, that she works with all this stuff. Just don't let the energy vampires get you. You know, that are kind of stealing your energy. And if you have to regroup and take a nap, then do it.
Yes. We have to do that. I keep pushing that more and more, even for myself, because like you said, I'm talking to the choir a lot of times.
Speaking to the choir.
Doing the self-care for yourself. And then you try to figure out, well, why do I feel so, like maybe overtired, or like you said, with the headache coming, or just different things that your body is talking to you, saying that's your body's telling you,
right? Stop.
You need to stop and relax and stop trying to do everything in within, 10 hour, whatever hours that you're doing, whatever. Right. So yeah, you have to listen. You got to listen to your body.
Right. And, because the thing is though, if you do not listen to your body,
your body will
your body's going to make you listen.
Oh yeah. And the body's going to be like, I don't have, okay, you don't want to listen? You don't want to listen, Barbara?
You don't want to listen to me?
Then I want to show you how much you're going to listen.
Yeah. And I literally was in bed for 3 days. I could not lift my head. And it was like, oh, what have and then of course it's like, yeah, what have I done? What did I do? Then it was like, well, Barbara, you have been burning the candle at both ends, doing all sorts of things. And the thing is though, just because they were fun things related to business, but all related to business.
Yes.
Like one of the things, just learning how to do. I took a little class on how to tell a story, and because it's all honing your craft. Absolutely. So for me, it came under the heading of honing my craft. But right at that moment, probably not what I should have done. Because to tell you the truth, I didn't get as much out of it as if I had taken it later.
Yeah.
I was trying to cram everything into, and then realizing that, oh, brother, I probably, yeah.
Yeah. I've been, one thing that I've been helping me out with time and doing things at a certain time frame and stopping is that I bought this a while ago. Well, I bought it because of speaker, because I was doing a lot of speaking things, a timer, and I set it, in increments of like 15 to 25 minutes, depending on what project I'm working on. And as soon as I hear that thing go ding, now before I have to tell on myself, like we always say, we tell.
Oh yeah, because I know a couple of times
I would keep hitting it. I said, okay, 24. Okay, let me give me 25 minutes. Boom,
give me another
25. Didn't hit it again to restart it. I'm like, okay, that defeats the purpose of why I got the timer. I got to keep hitting it, for more time. I'm like, no, Barbara, the reason why it's going off in 25 minutes, you need to stop this, whatever you're doing, and move to the next thing, what you need to do, or the resting period.
Or a resting period.
Yeah, and that's what was going. So now I do it right.
And I remember the show when you said, oh, I need to do that, don't I? And I remember that. And you saying, I need to get a timer, don't I? And it's absolutely the truth, because so often I'll be working on a project and then all of a sudden it's like, why is the timer going off? It hasn't been. And it's like, then you look at it and say, oh, yeah, I guess it has been.
Yeah. It makes you realize, I'm so glad you said that, because it makes you realize how much time passed that quickly on what you were working on. And you didn't even realize it 25 or 30 minutes has passed. It's like, wow.
Yeah. And that's why they call them block times. And one of the things, I took a class on block timing, of and how important it is to do block time. The thing is, though, you should not schedule more than 3 block times in a day.
Oh.
And I'm like, only 3? Yeah. And you can block another block time, but it has to be a fun block time. There should only be 2 or 3 work block times. Because, and one of the things for me is that I'll put in another block time, but I forget to do training. I'm so caught up in the doing. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. That, okay, yeah, but, I got to learn how to do that. Well, you have to schedule training time in order to learn how to do the next thing.
Training or research. I always say training or research time if you're researching on a certain topic or whatever you're, Yeah.
Exactly. Like our conversations, they don't just happen.
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes. But lots of times we will talk about, okay, yeah, because we'll have a theme of that we want to get across to people. Absolutely. That takes research of what are we going to talk about? What are the experts saying? What are the trending things? If you never take time to look at stuff.
Yeah. You have to have that time to do that. So, it's funny you said, just 3 times for block time, because I know with the timer I use, since I do have my day job, I'm like, Clark Kent. During the day, I'm doing my day. At night, I'm doing my business. So during the day, I do block more than 3 times because like I'm working on different projects. So like for one project, I might be on for an hour and then I have my timer go off and it reminds me, okay, Barbara, you need to check your emails, or because before I used to check my emails through the whole day. Yeah. And I'm like, that would stop me from getting stuff done. I'm like, what am I doing?
It's unproductive.
So I gotta put a timing for that. Yeah.
And that can be one of your block times. Like one of my block times is posting on Facebook and LinkedIn, of actually going in and doing this as one of the things that I do. Because it's called, we have to have engagement. So do those things, absolutely, but block time them. Wow. Make a list of your high performance things that you need to do, and then set a block time around it. But those are, like the thing is, like even yesterday, it's like, who's in charge of your schedule?
Oh yeah, is it?
Who's in charge of your schedule?
Who's really in charge?
It's like, well, I guess I am. It's like, well, if you've got too much stuff, if you're too busy, then cut something out.
And one thing that I am trying really hard, I know some people been on me about, well, Barbara, why are you getting so hard on you? It's not so hard on myself. I get tired of the word, because everybody's using it now. I'm so busy.
Right.
I'm so busy. And I'm thinking to myself, before I would say that, I would get caught in the whole I'm so busy. And then I thought about this because somebody came to me, a client, older client I had, and they said, well, if you're so busy, how are you going to tend to people that you're trying to make an impact to and help people and do your business and serve your clients if you keep talking over and over again how busy you are?
If it's coming out of your mouth that I'm so busy.
Yeah. Now you can, if you want to keep it in your head, we all are busy. We're working hard to do what we need to do, but it doesn't need to keep coming out. It's almost to the point where I hear it so much it's like an excuse for us to,
not do stuff.
Excuse to not do something because, I'm so busy, I can't do that. I'm too big. I'm so busy. And then I heard people telling me, because I was saying it so much, that people would cut me real quick and say, oh, well, Barbara, I didn't ask you because I know you're so busy.
Right. Exactly.
Ooh, see, when that started happening, Barbara, then I said, no, this has to change.
Yeah.
It has to change.
Right.
Because Yeah, because I can be missing out on things. I can be missing out on helping people, working with people because they're feeling too busy. Yeah,
and that's where block time does too. Like I have block time on my calendar that are open for people to block, so that it's on my calendar that this is open time. So it shows up in my calendar when I send somebody my calendar. Hey, block a time with me. And I specifically have specific times where that I don't put anything into that. I know mentally that so that people can block on that time.
Yes.
That's my client time. When so somebody can call up and say, hey, Barb, you know, gee, I blocked time on your calendar. Yay, yo, let's go. And I look and see every week of who's blocked on my calendar. And it's so nice. You have to have that time.
Yes, you definitely have. And then you have to show that, you know, you're open to new things coming into your life instead of saying people telling you you're so busy. It's like, no.
And meeting new people. That's how I've met Maria.
Yeah.
I had to open up time on my calendar to be able to meet people.
And talk to them.
And to talk to them.
Yeah.
And to bring them on as a guest. Find out what they do. Wow. You know, we have to have time to do that.
To do all that. Yeah. To schedule it out.
So that schedule it out. You're in charge of your schedule.
Yeah. So it's talking about Miss Maria that's just coming in shortly. We're going to have our sponsors do a little talking, and then we're going to bring Maria and hear what she has to say to us, the expert queen.
I loved talking to her, so it was fun.
Okay, here we go.
I'm hanging on your every word, the love inside, I feel it burn. I've never felt this way before. I've had a taste, now I want more. So here we are, just you and me. I'm overwhelmed when you touch me. You talk so sweet, I hear the sound. 'Cause when you do, my feet won't touch the ground.
There we go.
How are you? Hi, Maria.
Good morning. Good morning, BBs.
The BBs, yes.
Love it.
Yeah, it just, and Barb was the one that coined us that. Are you? And it was like, oh yeah, they were the BBs. And it was just, and so many of the guests have come on and said, it just makes our life so much easier. You're both Barbara.
Exactly. Yes. Well done.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So
wonderful, Marie. Is it Maria or Marie?
Maria.
Maria. Okay, just want to make sure I say it right. I hate saying people's names wrong. So Miss Maria, thank you, Queen. I always call it, just to let you know, I call, and Barbara knows, I call ladies queens because I feel like we're royal. I know that we're royalty.
You're royalty.
Why, thank you.
Today, Maria.
Love it. Love it.
Right. And so how was your Christmas, Maria? Let's start with some fun things.
Well, it was wonderful because my daughter came home from Chicago, but my son was not able to come because he has COVID and he lives in LA. So we had a lot of quarantining going on, didn't get to see very much family because of COVID, but the good news, the silver linings are that we all will have super immunity now, those of us who had COVID, and all of us were triple vaxxed. So the symptoms were very, very minor.
Right. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And which is, it has just been such a weird thing. And now all the new variants and anyways,
Yes.
But
yes.
Yeah.
But I think what the whole pandemic has done, I believe, for society is that it has brought into very much focus, for me at least, what's really important, and how I don't need a lot of material things. I don't need to go to the grocery store that much, actually, because we can make do with what we have. And the most important things are relationships, not any things. So if nothing else good comes out of the pandemic, I hope it is that people learn how to focus on what's really important in life.
Right.
Yeah,
One of the things for me is that, you know, like I have a whole household. There's like 11 of us in the house. We're down to 11. We were now we're down to 11. But you know what? My doorbell rings at all sorts of the time of day and night because there's DoorDash or Uber Eats. And when you have older teenagers that have jobs and they get home, you know, like sometimes they'll get home from work, like my grandson, he does video. He videos the sports games for his school. And so he's out all hours. It's like some days it's like, gee, John, when was the last time I saw you? You know, kind of thing. He says, yeah, grab me lots of games, and loves what he does. But you know, all of a sudden the doorbell will ring and I'm like, who's coming at 11 o'clock at night? Oh, DoorDash. Okay. And you know, so these days, that's, I think, some of the things that we are going to see long term that have come out of this. Like, look at the international relationships that people have now.
Interesting. Yes. That is a silver lining.
Relationships.
Yeah, I'm so glad. That's what I see as a positive too. Like you just said, you get to meet, just like Maria and everybody else. I mean, I know we're, you know, in the U.S., but even with that alone too, sometimes I haven't got a chance to go to different states, but just through Zoom, StreamYard and stuff, I can be right there with the person. We talk and we communicate, we collaborate, and we find some things that we can do together. So as a positive, I'm loving that. I mean, you know, here in the U.S. and global, you know, I met a lot of women and men to collaborate and talk about different topics that we, you know, have a like-minded about. And I tell people, please go and just seek out the people, because there's so many wonderful like-minded people that can help you within your business and personal life. You might just meet a friend and be like, wow, you know, I got a new friend now.
True.
Exactly. The last week I was on a call and we were just sitting there, and like when we get together for our women's panel on, you know, for the Diamond Factor. And here we are from such diverse age groups and backgrounds and areas, and yet we are good friends because we see each other on Zoom. Yeah. And we might not have that tangible, but I have to admit, my sister and we go for walks together. She lives in Montreal. I live near Chicago, but we go on walks together. I'll plug in and then we go for a walk together.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
And yeah, you know, and you take a gratitude walk and just walk around and be grateful. Even if you're by yourself, walk around and be grateful for the things that you can see, hear, taste, touch.
Yes.
Anyway, so,
yeah. I agree. I think many people learned the virtues of walking and discovered so much more in their neighborhoods than they'd ever noticed before, because usually we're all in a rush and usually we're all in cars. And I've gotten to know my neighbors better. I've walked through small forests and taken what I consider to be forest baths, which is a Japanese practice of taking deep breaths surrounded by nature. And it's just lovely and meditative and recentering to get in touch with the beauty of nature.
Yes. It's just, you just start appreciating, because like you said, Maria, I started just appreciating just the sounds that I hear. And when I go outside and looking at the trees and the sky and all that, and it's funny because when the pandemic first started, I noticed that even in the atmosphere, it was seemed like healthier, because everybody wasn't out, the cars weren't driving, you wasn't having all that, you know, pollution and everything going on. So everything, all of a sudden, things got a little bit different. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize how much we were putting in the world. And now we're not really, traveling, doing things that now it's like, it seemed like nature was kind of healing itself in a sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
True.
So Maria, tell us about you. I love tell us about your book.
Okay, well, I've got a copy right here.
I love the title.
The title is 50 After 50, Reframing the Next Chapter of Your Life. It's available anywhere you get your books, and it's even an audiobook, although it's not me narrating, which is disappointing to me. But in any event, it is a great gift for yourself or others or anyone who could use a lift in life. And what it is about stepping back, reframing what's going on in your life. It's about making choices. If you don't like the way your life is going, then do something to change it, because not doing anything is a choice too. And I implore readers not to settle for the gray safety that sameness promises, that none of us have to settle. And because of medicine and science, we're all living much longer than previous generations. So we have the opportunity to create new chapters for ourselves. And I have several different professions at this stage in my life. I am 58 years old and I am a lawyer. I am a journalist. I write for several publications. I am an author working on my next book. I am a mentor to younger women. I believe that I was given opportunities, and so I do my best to lift up other women. I also try to be a help to those who have been sexually assaulted or who are dealing with addictions, because I moved through those traumas in my life. So I have many jobs and I love them all. And I feel blessed that I can do so many things and have such a multifaceted life and career.
And yeah, because I was on your podcast.
Yes, I'm a podcaster. I'm a radio show host in Washington, D.C. And I'm continually growing by, as you said earlier in your show, meeting new people, being stimulated by new ideas, altering my perspective as much as possible, because I believe if we don't keep growing, we start declining. And I just plan to be around for a lot longer. And I think there's so many things in the world that we can do. And as you discussed earlier, simply by virtue of being online, we can expand our horizons by listening to, for instance, TED Talks. I did my first TED Talk this year. And if you Google my name, you can find it. And the subject of my TEDx talk actually is called Turning Life's Challenges into a Force for Good. And I would love it if I could get a few more likes via this broadcast, because that helps move it up in the algorithm. So
exactly. And that's what this part of this show is, what this show is all about, is getting people, especially highlighting women that are getting their message out there.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you.
That is just so important. And because I truly believe that this is the decade of the women.
Oh, they said it is. I've been hearing it.
I've heard that several times.
They said this year and really next year too is the decade of the women.
Love it. Love it. Let's take over. Yes. So I think that all of us can elevate women, and especially those of us who are in midlife now, can help to elevate the younger generation. And that's one of the blessings of feminism, is that we have so many choices. And take advantage of them. Your life is happening right now. So I live with intention. That's another theme of the book, that I don't do things to people please anymore. I was a chronic people pleaser for most of my life. And now if someone asks me to do something, I ask myself if I'm doing it to please another person, or if it's something that is aligned with my values. Is it something that is bringing me closer to the Maria I want to be? And if not, I say I have another commitment. Number one, I don't have any obligation to tell others what that commitment is.
Right.
Number two, the commitment can simply be to replenishing my own energy or to doing something that I really want to do. So instead of just willy-nilly going along with what others say, I'm very intentional with my time, because once our time is done, we don't get it back. It's something none of us can buy. We don't know how much we get. And I used to be a lot more careful about how I spent my money as opposed to how I spent my time. Yet time is the most precious commodity that any of us have.
Right.
So when I turned 50, I tried 50 new things to determine how I wanted to live the next chapter of my life. And nobody has to wait till they're 50 to make changes like this. But at age 50, 3 big life events happened for me. I got divorced, I got sober from alcoholism, I became an empty nester. So I was living alone for the first time in my life. I was feeling rudderless, and I really needed to change almost everything about my life. So in trying 50 new things, not all of which I will ever do again,
Exactly.
I learned so much about myself, about what I wanted to include in my life and what I didn't want to include in my life. And some of the things involved lifestyle changes, spiritual endeavors, travel, learning and teaching, social activities. And it was just a year of really focusing on what serves me and what no longer serves me. So I would encourage, of course, all of your listeners to get the book. Lots of libraries actually carry it too, because Library Journal gave it a stellar review. So read it. It will, I think, pique ideas for you to maybe make small or big changes in your life. And all of us owe it to ourselves, especially as we reach the end of 2021 and a pandemic that affected all of us. Realign what's going on in your life. Take a look at it. Reflect. Practice the pause and respond instead of just reacting to what is happening around you. So I believe it is a book that can help anyone and already has helped thousands of people.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on, because it's just such a timely thing, especially at this time of the year. Because
Yes.
now we are reflecting. We talked about it at the beginning, in the beginning of the show. We're reflecting on the things that have happened this year, the things that we thought were going to happen that didn't, the things that we didn't think would happen did.
Yes.
And some of those are so positive. And yet, at the beginning of the year, if you had told me that I would have a podcast out on Spotify, I would have said, "What?" Now it's so nice to be able to say that.
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. And my podcast is an extension of the book in a way, because the podcast is called Becoming Your Best Version.
Right.
And so I have inspiring women like you, Barbara Ellison, on my show. And we talk about people's lives and what they've learned. And the last question is always, what do you do to become your best version?
Right.
And those things can be small or large. But the point is, I have had the blessing of being in touch with amazing people, and I want to share the richness of life and the richness of experiences and different approaches people have taken to life's challenges and life's blessings, and savor these wonderful things and resources around us.
Right. And that's one of the things why I just absolutely love this format of having a conversation.
Yes.
Because so often people can get so caught up in the interview that the conversation doesn't happen. And lots of times it's in the conversation that the magic happens.
Yeah.
There is one little spark of awareness that, wow, I never thought of it that way.
Yes, it's so true.
Never thought of it that way.
I just checked the calendar, and Barbara's episode will air on January 7th.
Oh, yay!
And the podcast, Becoming Your Best Version, is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere you get your podcasts. And we had a great conversation, and you are an inspiring person, and I love your energy and your spirit. And I'm now grateful that I got to meet the other Barbara.
Yeah, obviously technical. I am so grateful for Barb Beckley in that she can all of a sudden just like, it's like, oh, something has happened in the background that I know nothing about. I'm the first to admit that I know nothing about the technology of doing a podcast. So I am so grateful when she can just continue to let things go, that we're still here, that we're still doing, but she'll be back. It's just the funniest thing. But so anyway, so yeah, Barbie, I know you'll be back. The thing is, one of the things that I loved about of meeting you and stuff too is just all the taking those opportunities to learn something new.
Yeah.
It is so important. It is so important to have that. Okay, yeah, let's try this. Did this work? I loved the fact that you said not all of them, I'll never do them again.
Yeah, it's true. And one of the great lessons of trying things that were outside of my comfort zone was that I learned that what scares me is not going to kill me in most circumstances, and that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling fear and doing it anyway, learning to stretch yourself.
Right.
And seeing what's out there.
Yep.
I mean, there are certain things in my book that won't appeal to everyone. Like I spent 2 months living in the Himalayas in a remote village with no running water and volunteering and helping to build a library and helping teach the children. And what that did was it became an exercise in cultivating gratitude, because I was able to focus on everything I had as opposed to everything I lost in my divorce. And the people were so lovely. The Himalayas' natural grandeur was out of this world, otherworldly, really, almost. And I learned that there's so many things that we take for granted in developed countries, like running water and heat and medicine, and the fact that we will eat something today. Like that's not the case in a lot of parts of the world.
Right.
So
I was just in my prayer time this morning. I'm part of a thing called the Joshua Project, and we pray for unreached parts of the world.
Oh.
And so this week we have been in the Sahara. I have no concept of living on the edge of a desert that's 140 degrees. And they live and there's like an oasis, and there's different oases that it's like, oh wow, no concept of that. And yet I have looked up some of the traditions and some of the ways, and I go, oh yike, I have just we live in such an affluent society here.
Yes, we do.
I think nothing of just getting in the fact that I can get in my shower in the morning, pull a knob, and hot water comes out.
Exactly. In fact, when I got back to the United States, I went to a restaurant, and it wasn't a fancy restaurant, but I was in the ladies' room, and I didn't realize I said it out loud, but I said, wow, it smells great in here. And the restroom quickly emptied, and the patrons thought I was crazy, but I had been using an outhouse for a couple months.
Exactly.
I hadn't seen a paper towel in months.
Yes, exactly. A friend of mine is a missionary to China. And she said the first year that she was there, you just don't realize.
Yes. So true.
what we really do have.
Yeah, it is very true. Very true.
We really do have.
And then there were a few other things that I tried that won't appeal to people simply because, well, one of the things I did was dangerous. I got a motorcycle. I got my motorcycle license.
Oh, that's on my list.
Well, I told my children, my adult children, that I will support their getting a motorcycle license and motorcycle when they turn 50, but not now in their 20s.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's a dangerous thing. I acknowledge that. And I'm very careful. I don't go on the highway. I go on country roads principally.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And that's like with me, one of the things I'm going to do on my list of 2022 is I'm going to go whitewater rafting.
Ah, fun.
And I'm so looking forward to it. And a couple of friends of mine have said, "You're going to do what?" Whitewater rafting. Why are you doing that at 70 years old? I said, because I can.
Yes,
And
exactly.
the thing is that you do have to be aware. Like my girlfriend who's taking me, she said, "Barb, we take kids on this river." And I'm like, "Oh, then we're in my speed." I am not going to go into the devil's pit. I think there's one in the devil's pit or something that you have to be really, really an experienced whitewater rafter. Not something that I'm going to do.
Yes.
But I will do a lazy river kind of thing. And like today, a friend of mine, she called me up last week and she said, "Barb, I need to go up to the lake house." She has a house on the lake that we go up to in the summer, and we go, boating and swimming, and it's wonderful. She says, "I have to go up to the lake house." She says, "Why don't you come with me?" She said, "I have got to teach you TikTok." I went, "I don't know TikTok." She said, "Yeah, but you need to learn TikTok because it will be a great way for you to promote your podcast."
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, fine. So we are going to the lake house today. And so we're going to have fun. We're going to have lunch. She has a couple of things that she has to do, but she's going to teach me. We're going to set up my TikTok and then teach me how to do TikTok.
Wow. You know what? You just gave me a great idea because I have TikTok, but I've never promoted my podcast on TikTok. So I'm going to do that today. Thank you for that. And I guess I should tell you at this point that my son, Chris Olson, is a TikTok star who has 6 million followers.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's what my girlfriend, this girl, she volunteers at an animal shelter and she walks goats.
I didn't know goats had to be walked.
Well, yeah, I didn't mean either. Goats love to be walked.
Oh.
And you wouldn't believe the videos that this girl puts out of her playing with these goats. The goats know her. They know as soon as she walks in the door, they get all excited. They know that they're going to play with Sherry.
Aww.
And it is just hysterical. So every time it's like, "Gee, did you see my goat video?" So she has all this about goats. And people can go and she can do like meetup groups and you can come and pet the goats and walk the goats and run with the goats. And you can take on a walk.
I would love that. I've done goat yoga where you're doing yoga and the goats climb on you or
there's
whatever.
All things to do with goats. So
love it.
She has got one of her videos had thousands upon thousands upon thousands of views. And so that was the last time that we were together for our little breakfast. She said, "Barb, for heaven's sakes, you have got to learn TikTok." I said, "Yeah, but I don't know TikTok." She said, "Yeah, but I'm going to teach you." And that's when she was like, "Okay, fine." So today's the day.
I love it. I'll be
do TikTok.
I'll be looking out for your TikTok account. Let me know so I can follow you.
How to do TikTok and then how to promote things that I'm doing. Like I'm going to be starting a new thing in January of how to transition into midlife effortlessly. Kinds of things that we can do to just go into midlife energetically, effortlessly, enthusiastically, All of those E words. Midlife does not have to be the halfway point of your life. Why do we have midlife crises? Well, because you know what? We've gotten halfway through our life, and is the life that you're leading right now the one that you want? Well, if it's not, like I love that you said, change it.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're not living the life that you want, do something. Let's change it.
It's in our power to change it. Small things or big things, even mindsets.
Exactly.
The book, Man's Search for Meaning, changed my life because Viktor Frankl, the author and psychiatrist, was in a concentration camp. Everything was taken away from him but one thing, which was the power to choose one's attitude. So that was a sea change for me to think about. I can be going through a very difficult time, but I can choose my attitude.
Right.
I don't have to have my life governed by outside forces. No one can change my inner life but me.
Right. Exactly. And no one can bring you down without your permission.
Yes. That's the famous Eleanor Roosevelt quote, which is, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent.
Without your consent.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely the truth. Like people say to me, gee, Barb, how are you always so positive? Well, I'm not always positive.
Right.
But on most days, and some days it's a little bit harder choice. Absolutely. Some days you wake up and go, really? Oh, we all have those moments. But you know what? It is also a choice.
Yes.
It is a choice.
It is.
We can choose, and I can choose to say, hey, this is the day that the Lord has made. I'll rejoice and be glad in it.
That's true.
And something good is going to happen to me today.
Yeah, if you expect the good, I believe in manifestation also, that if you surround yourself with people who uplift you, and if you choose to be around and fill your mind and your heart with positive things, that more positive things will come into your orbit.
Exactly. And as we're seeing, there's ways to reach Maria. We're coming to the end of our time. Maria, this was I'm so glad that you came on the show. We'll have to have you come on again.
Thank you, because I'm writing another book and I think you're going to want to hear about it later.
And that's that's on my list for 2022 is to get like I've been part of several compilation books, and I'm right now in the process of a couple of compilation books, but I want to write one of my own of that's your own story, that how to transition into midlife effortlessly.
Yes.
We all need, and because we all talk with a different voice, and so that's why I'm so grateful. So your book, I would encourage people, hey, 50 things after 50, try some new things. And there's a chapter going along. All of the ways to connect with Maria is going to be in the show notes. So anyways, a parting word of wisdom, Maria, from you.
Oh gosh, well, just one? Okay. And no one is responsible for your happiness but you. I allowed my happiness to hinge on the happiness of others, principally my children, and that is called codependency, because I'm responsible for my happiness. If I am not happy with my life, it is up to me to make changes. And it is not up to anyone else to make me happy. It is up to me.
Yeah.
So go out there and fill your life with positive people, with people who stimulate and uplift you. Look for ways of learning and expanding your perspective. Check out my YouTube TEDx talk, which is called Using Life's Challenges as a Force for Good. We all have experiences we can share to uplift and help others not feel so alone. But principally, take care of yourself, because if you are not at your best, you can't help other people in your best possible way. Fill your cup first. Put on your oxygen mask first before you try to help someone else, and become your best version by doing so.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I always say, become the best version of you.
Yes.
Because that's everybody is different. Don't try to be somebody else.
Yes.
Be the best version of you. And that's what this show is all about. So, just make happy, this is a time to shine happiness show. It is your time to shine and be happy. So thanks everybody. Have an awesome, awesome new year. Can you believe we will see you next week in 2022. Wow. This is huge. Thanks again, Maria, for coming.
Thank you for having me on the show. Take care.
You're most welcome. So Barbara will end the show.